The transmission said consultancy, which I took to mean a few polite speeches, a shuttle ride or two, and maybe a weird alien dinner. You know, short-term arrangement stuff. I didn't pack much. Just a translator, a change of uniform, and a very low expectation for drama. Big mistake. The moment I stepped into the Grand Hall of Unity, high ceilings, way too much gold, and at least 6 guards eyeing me like I was made of explosives, I felt it. That creeping dread. The kind that tells you your name's been written on the wrong line of the wrong document. A diplomat with 3 eyes and 1 tooth greeted me. "Welcome, human Dane Wilder," he said. "You are late for your engagement." "Engagement?" I laughed. "Let me guess, public speech? Toast raising?" He blinked. "You have signed the preliminary bond?" I nodded. "Yeah, I signed page 1. You guys gave me a 300-page doc. I skimmed." There was a sound. Like metal grinding against metal. I turned. And there she stood. 3 feet tall. Skin like obsidian glass. Hair like static. Eyes that could cut steel. And an expression that said you are 2 seconds from spontaneous combustion. "You," she said, voice sharp enough to draw blood, "are the human consultant?" I saluted. "Dane Wilder, at your service, ma'am." Her nostrils flared. "I am Empress Tirna Voss. Your bonded partner." My arm froze mid-salute. "What?" She marched toward me, high boots clicking like weapons. "Per Articles 17 through 23 of the Intergalactic Stability Pact, your signature confirms a unity bond. We are to be joined in contractual matrimony for a minimum of 6 cycles. I thought I was here for negotiations." "You are. As my consort." Silence. Then I muttered, "This is one hell of a short-term arrangement." She scowled. "Do not mock our customs, or your species will be sanctioned." Again. I glanced down at her. Literally. She came up to my chest, if that. "Not to be rude, but aren't I a bit tall for you? You will kneel. Not even dinner first?" The guards raised weapons. She raised her hand. They froze. "You have a smart mouth. Gotta compensate for the rest." Her expression didn't change. "Follow me, husband." She turned on her heel. I turned to the 3-eyed diplomat. "Is this legally binding?" He nodded. "Congratulations. May your union preserve the stars." I followed her through twisting corridors meant for smaller bodies. I banged my head 3 times in 20 steps. She never looked back. Finally, I couldn't help myself. "Why me?" She answered without turning. "Because your DNA markers show a 94% neural harmony with my kind. Because you're sarcastic, adaptable, and biologically compatible with my species. And because every other candidate refused." "Ah. So I'm the bottom of the barrel." She stopped. "You were available. Not ideal. But usable." Flattered. We reached a room, hers, apparently. Imperial banners, weapons on the walls, a floating bed barely big enough for a child. She turned, arms crossed. "You will sleep here." I raised an eyebrow. "Where exactly? The shelf?" She pointed to a foam mat rolled in the corner. "That is your rest pad. Looks like a yoga mat got mugged." She didn't blink. "Do you accept your role or not?" I paused. Thought about Earth. The pay. The fine print. The likely consequences of offending an entire galactic superpower. "Fine," I said. "But I want it on record. I didn't know this was a marriage contract." She smirked. "Then perhaps next time, read past page 1. I grumbled as I unrolled the mat. It crunched. "This better be short term," I muttered. From across the room, she replied calmly. "Oh, it will feel long." I didn't sleep much. Hard to do when your spine's protesting and your legally contracted alien wife keeps muttering war chants in her sleep. I woke up stiff, annoyed, and confused about why the ceiling kept flickering red. Turns out, it was morning. Breakfast was a single nutrient cube that smelled like scorched socks. She devoured hers. I stared at mine like it owed me rent. You need protein, she said. Your species deteriorates faster than mine. Thanks, I replied. Nothing like being told I'm aging poorly by someone who needs a booster seat. She narrowed her eyes. Disrespect is a punishable offense in the Union. So is malnutrition. A beep interrupted us. A floating orb hovered into the room. Time for daily synchronization ritual. I groaned. We doing this again? You missed it yesterday. That alone justifies annulment and interspecies tension. Can't have that, I muttered, rubbing my temples. All right, Empress. Let's sync up. She stepped closer and pressed her forehead to mine. Instant static. Like licking a battery made of bad decisions. My muscles twitched. She didn't flinch. You're resisting, she said. I'm not trying to. My brain just isn't used to someone rewiring it without a heads up. Breathe slower. Easy for you to say. You've got, what, 2 hearts and a backup nervous system? 3. And you're drooling. I wiped my chin. We done? She stepped back. You may live. Ah, how sweet. Later, we were summoned to the Imperial Assembly. A hall filled with creatures that looked like someone gave up halfway through evolution. We stood side by side while the elders reviewed our compatibility data. Elder No-Teeth spoke first. Remarkable neuroresponse. Mild aggression. Elevated hormonal spikes. Promising. Elder Tentacle added. Initial friction may indicate deep bond potential. Terna gave a diplomatic nod. I winced. Hormonal spikes? You poked my brain with psychic needles. Of course I'm spiking. You are unusually reactive, she said. Thanks. You're unusually pointy. After the assembly, she pulled me aside. We need to rehearse. For what? A performance? For the public. The Empire requires footage. We must project unity. Unity or chemistry? Both. We practiced holding hands. Her fingers didn't reach halfway around mine. This looks like I'm kidnapping you, I said. She raised a brow. Try smiling. I forced a grin. She recoiled. Never mind. That's disturbing. We tried sitting close. I almost crushed her robe. You fidget too much, she snapped. I'm not built for dainty chairs and public cuddling. You're not built for much, apparently. We both froze. Then laughed, quietly, awkwardly, but genuinely. You hate this, she said. Only slightly less than taxes. I hate it more than assassination attempts. Well, at least we have mutual hatred to build on. There was a pause. She glanced at me, softer now. I don't understand you. Most people don't. That's why I'm single. You shouldn't be. I blinked. You hitting on me, boss? Merely stating fact. You are irritating. But also, fascinating. Same to you. Just smaller. That night, she offered me the bed. I didn't argue. Halfway through the night, I woke up to find her curled at my feet, muttering again. Having nightmares? I asked. She blinked. Dreaming of war. And loss. I hesitated. You ever dream of peace? No. Maybe that's why they picked a human. She didn't reply. Just stayed there, breathing, not quite asleep. And for once, I didn't feel entirely out of place. The alarm blared before dawn. Red lights, sirens, shouting in languages I couldn't process. Tirna was already up, armored, and issuing commands like a lightning bolt in motion. The insurgents have breached orbital security, she said flatly. They want the throne and the treaty nullified. Wait, I thought I was just a consultant, / accidental husband. Why am I suddenly a political target? Because killing you breaks the treaty. Neat. I grabbed my jacket and weapon, ducked as a blast shook the wall. So, do I hide or fight? You stay by me, she said. I laughed, half panicked. You're 3 feet tall. Shouldn't I be shielding you? You forget who carries venom. Another blast. We were cornered in a narrow corridor when two masked attackers dropped in. I moved to aim, too slow. She threw a dagger into one's throat and used her boot to flip the second into a wall. No wasted motion. No mercy. You were saying? She smirked. I blinked. Remind me never to steal your dessert. She handed me a small orb. Use this. Human interface. Push the red side. I pressed it. My wristband synced. Suddenly, 10 holographic versions of me projected across the corridor, each one holding a weapon, smirking, and moving with precision. What the hell? It's your subconscious. Amplified. Controlled by adrenaline and sarcastic intent. The invaders panicked at the sight of multiple humans. One screamed. He's split! He's replicating! They retreated. Ternat turned to me. How did you do that? I don't know. I was just trying to buy us time. You manipulated an illusion interface designed for cognitive warforms. I was trying not to die. Humans are good at panicking productively. She stared at me like I'd just grown wings. We underestimated your species. I grinned. Most do. We made our way to the command chamber. Ternat's advisors were down, systems glitching. The Empire's defensive protocol needed a manual override. I looked at the terminal, language unfamiliar, but structure vaguely logical. Can you read this? She asked. No. But I can guess. You guess with weapons? I debugged with confidence. She didn't stop me. 10 seconds later, the shields came online. Exterior blast doors locked. The Empire was safe, for now. The Council arrived moments later, blinking at the still-standing Empress and her unqualified Earth husband with a glowing wristband. You have defied all projected outcomes, one said. I do that a lot, I replied. You may have saved the Empire, another added. Ternat didn't speak. She just looked at me like I was some sort of riddle wrapped in denim and ego. Later, alone, she broke the silence. You could have run. You didn't. Didn't feel like running. Felt like protecting. You did more than that. I leaned against the wall. Guess I'm not completely useless after all. No, she said. You're dangerously unpredictable. And irritatingly effective. That's the nicest thing anyone said to me all year. She stepped closer. I don't understand humans. But you. I think I want to. I raised an eyebrow. You saying this short-term deal might extend? Possibly. Should I prepare emotionally or pack my bags? She smiled, barely. Neither. Just stop drooling during sleep. You dream of war. I dream of tacos. Don't judge. I'll learn to adjust, she said. And this time, it didn't sound like a threat. They wanted a ceremony. Not the first one. We'd already done that awkward legal bind with glowing ink and zero fanfare. This was different. A public reaffirmation of unity, live-streamed across 5 systems, with flowers, speeches, and an audience that included species that looked like moving coral. I stood in front of a mirror, adjusting a collar that pinched and boots that squeaked. Ternat walked in wearing ceremonial armor polished to a mirror shine, her crown twice the size of her head. She gave me a look that could shatter steel. You look passable. Thanks. You look like a very shiny threat. She blinked. I'll accept that as a compliment. Good. It was the nicest way I could say you terrify me. Fear is appropriate. But you hide it well. Practice. The officiator began the rites, listing virtues like loyalty, endurance, adaptability. The last one made her side-eye me. I whispered. What? You've adapted far too quickly. Survival skill. You bite people, remember? Only those who disobey. Guess I earned that. She didn't smile, but something softened. Then came the final part, a vow of unity, spoken by both parties, sealed by a touch. I expected her to hesitate. Instead, she placed her hand on mine, voice steady. I vow to stand beside you, even when I do not understand you. I stared back. I vow to try understanding you, even when standing beside you hurts my back. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Even she looked momentarily amused. The officiator declared the vow accepted. The bond updated. Civil war officially prevented. Treaties stabilized. One tiny empress and one reluctant human, galactic balance achieved through a cosmic loophole. After the event, we were alone again. Tyrna removed her crown and leaned it carefully against the wall. You made a mockery of an imperial ritual. I made it watchable. And now they expect more. Appearances. Protocols. Cooperation. Are you regretting this? No, she said slowly. I am surprised. By what? That I don't mind your presence. Or your input. Or your scent. Let's not get carried away. You once called me a walking hormone. You were leaking adrenaline. I was being chased. You screamed. I yelled strategically. She tilted her head. You fascinate me. Likewise. I've never met someone who uses fear as foreplay. She stepped closer. You're annoying. You're bossy. You snore. You kick. We stared at each other. Something warm, electric, heavy, but not unpleasant, settled between us. This started as a mistake, she said. Most good things do. I still don't trust you. I still don't understand you. But we work, I said. Somehow. She nodded. We stood like that for a moment. No war, no treaty, no ceremony. Just us. One chaotic human and one furious empress, breathing in the same air and not trying to kill each other. It was enough. For now. And maybe for longer. Maybe even for good.